All right, everybody, today I'm going to break down the inflows and outflows of your income into your home and away from you and expenses. And I interview quite a few wealthy individuals who spent a lot of time developing really great wealth habits. And they all have one thing in common. They all said the same thing. The most important thing you can do if you're serious about starting to grow your net worth is to track it. And the way that we track that is through a personal financial statement, which shows you your net worth. And what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you guys the tool that I actually use for tracking myself and my family's net worth. So by the end of this, you should be able to follow along. We'll have a spreadsheet for you that you can use to apply it to you in your life. And I hope you guys get a lot of value out of it. Let's get started. Okay, you guys, we have a wealth tools worksheet here for you. This is the same tools that I use, and Laura Thompson has filled this out for you guys to take it, make it your own. I'm going to walk you through what you need to do, how to fill the worksheet out, and then start tracking your net worth. Okay, so the first thing, you guys, the instructions are on the first page. There is also 2 PDFs inside of this first tab called the instructions, and it's going to open up 2 PDFs that we're going to actually sketch out where you sit financially with the inflow of income into your life monthly and the outflow. It's very, very crucial that you make sure you win the battle monthly, because most of the times your mortgage payments due monthly, your credit card payments due monthly, most of your expenses are due monthly. It's very, very important that you have very good clarity on what's coming into your family each month and then what's outflowing, and just watching that flow of money, getting a real good understanding of where you currently sit. So we're going to walk you through those, and then we're actually going to do an exercise where we complete your net worth calculation. It's the same formula that I use, and then what you guys can do is with this Google Sheet, just make a copy of it, and you guys can start working on it right away. And a great thing to understand is that when you're in the net worth tab, when you're about to buy an asset, here's a few examples. What would it look like if I purchased a $150,000 investment property that produced $12,000 a month in income? You guys can start running scenarios inside of your net worth and kind of like mini pro formas for a business. Start understanding, well, what would happen to my net worth if I made this investment? So every time I'm about to make a big purchase on an asset, I go, okay, well, what is the net positive, either net worth gain? What is the cash flow gain? But having a really good understanding for this at your house, at your home, is where I always start. People come to me all the time and say, hey, I want to buy my first investment property. I always push them back to show me the foundational things you have set in place for you and your home, meaning the income you have coming into your home and the expenses going out, and what's your net worth currently of your household before we start pushing you and your businesses to develop net worth, because it's the same thing. We've got to get you on stable ground and a solid foundation, and having the habits inside of your personal life that you need to build wealth. And these are exercises that help just bring awareness to it. All right, let's get started. First tab we go to is the Inflow Outflow tab. This is a crucial tab because this is a monthly income coming into your house, okay? And then the outflow is the monthly expenses that flow away from your house. And we're gonna actually graph this out in a minute. So you're gonna need to take a pause here, pause the video, and start filling out all of the income that you have. This is your income, partner or spouse's income, rental income, business income, and then there's a spot for other income. If you have dividends from a business, if you have profit share, if you have anything that brings money into your life per month, okay? Next column is your monthly expenses, the outflow. Where does the money go? And you need a real good idea of monthly where this goes. At the bottom, these are just all ideas for you. This, you guys, a lot of times people, when they start trying to build net worth, they confuse the inflow and outflow with their net worth. That's not what we're talking about. They're 2 separate pieces. If you want to think about it in business terms, a lot of businesses have a profit and loss statement. That is this. That's the inflow outflow. And then they have a balance sheet. That is our net worth sheet you guys are seeing next. So take a few minutes, fill out your monthly expenses, and go from there. Okay, once you guys have completed filling out your inflow and outflow expenses, you should have a total down here, your total monthly inflow and then the total money outflow of that income. So you have a really good idea of the money that comes into your house and that goes away. And the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to click on this PDF here, and we're actually physically going to graph it out. So let me share a different screen here with you to show you that. All right, so this is the very first spreadsheet that you guys are going to have. And the very first thing at the center is your house, okay? And we're going to show the money coming into the house. So this is the money comes in. And then what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the money that goes out. The reason I had you fill that worksheet out first is then we're going to graph it right now and give you a visual representation of exactly what's happening in your financial picture. What we do here is I'm going to keep the math super simple, but you guys are going to have to equate it for yourself. These tick mark lines on the side over here, you're going to have to use a unit of measure. And I encourage you to use like $500, $1,000, something like that. And what you're trying to do is you're going to have a funnel coming into your home, and it should look something like this when you're done. And what you do is you count up. So let's say you make $500. You go, $100, $200, $300, $400, $500. In this example, this total net side here is actually, it's $1,000 a month. So if you're making $1,000 a month, that's what this would look like on this side. Okay, it's going to have this funnel coming into your home. We went up by 500, we went down by 500, but the total coming in is 1,000. The next thing you're going to do, so once you have your inflow graphed, so I'll try to, this is where I lose people and I want to make sure I explain it better. Let's say you had $10,000 coming in here, you'd use each line as $1,000 instead of 100. Okay, but you're trying to use the same unit of measure on the inflow, the money coming into your home on this side. So take a few moments, graph out how much money do you have coming into your house, and then next we're going to talk about how much money do you have flowing away from your home. So in this example, I'm going to show you an example of somebody who basically is broke. What they're bringing in is exactly what's outflowing. And so I'm going to add up again 100, 200, 300, 400, 500. And I'm going to draw, so let me see if I can use my ruler on the side. So it gives it a little bit cleaner for you guys. I'm going to do the same on this side, 100, 200, 300, 400, 500. And what you want it to look is something just like this. And that is the money that flows away from you. And what this is somebody that makes $1,000 a month, comes into their home, and it goes away from them at a rate of $1,000 a month. And what you're going to see is that this line right here is the same. Same amount of money coming in is the same amount that's going out. And what that causes is you can't build any wealth from there because you have no cash to invest. You have no options here, really. What you're making is what's going out. And what could really hurt you guys is if instead of it looking like that, sometimes what happens is I'm going to put this at 600. And I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I'm going to graph this out. Sometimes what happens in our lives is that we spend more than what's coming in. This gap, you guys, is called debt. You're losing so slowly each month, you have no idea. You're just going into debt. And if you don't fix this, it's not bad if you're in this position. Please be just aware of where you are. But what's happening is you're spending $1,200 a month, but you're only making $1,000, and therefore it's virtually impossible for you to start building net worth. What I hope yours looks like is the opposite. I hope that this green side, what we're aiming for is something that looks like this. You're bringing in $4,000 a month, and then you got this amazing thing right here. This is God's blessing in your life of a wealth gap. Now this whole gap right here, that's your net worth. That's what you can use to start making investments. The only way that you're going to get ahead is if you cut your expenses and you increase your income and then start investing this gap, this whole thing right here is what you want to start investing. So we can't really get on a wealth building journey unless we have more income coming into our life than we have income going away from our life. I know it's a very simple exercise, but graph out where you actually sit on this piece of paper and then ask yourself, do I have money being left over, meaning I'm saving money each month? Or are you like the prior example where you are starting to lose money each month and you're going into debt? You're really honest with yourself at this point, because either scenario you're in, the great news is that we can help you to improve on whatever direction you want to go. Okay, what are some things that you guys should do if you have a debt gap? If you look at this debt gap, what this is this is a lot of really small expenses, okay, that lead to this money flowing away from your home. And what you do is you dig into each one of those expenses, all the way down to Netflix, guys. All the way down to Netflix. Start with your biggest expenses: rent, mortgage, any of those things, car payments, credit card payments, student loan payments, all those things. All those things take income away from you. Spend some time and dig really deep into each one of those. So if you have a debt gap, get in there, get them scissors out, and start making cuts to your personal budget, and start living below whatever's coming in on this other side. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do, you guys, is I want to show you, I hope you guys ran through that exercise yourself, okay? And then I ask people at this stage, who are the wealthiest people that you know? And typically I'll teach this in a class setting and they'll say Warren Buffett, or they'll say Bill Gates, or they'll say Jeff Bezos. And then what we start doing is I say, great, pick that person. And I'm going to just go with Warren. We'll go with Warren Buffett. And then I ask a question like, okay, well, what is it that Warren Buffett actually owns, or what does he do? Like, how does he have income flow into his house? And they go, well, he's got a lot of businesses. He's actually got hundreds upon hundreds of businesses that all bring money into his house. It's not just one, it's a bunch. But then I ask him, okay, well, does this money coming in, is it a little bit of money or is it a lot? They go, well, it's a lot. So I said, well, does the inflow look like a small funnel or a large funnel? And they say, it looks like a large funnel. So I say, great, graph it out. And this is typically what happens in the class. They say Warren Buffett, they make it about as big as they possibly can, which is what I would do if I was in the class. I'd be like, well, his inflow of money coming into his business and into his life is very, very large. And I say, okay, great. Tell me about his outflow. And they say, well, it's probably a lot. He probably spends a lot. And I'm like, maybe, we don't know. None of us know exactly what he spends. But then I say, well, is he wealthy? And they say, yes. And I say, is it safe to say that he has a very large wealth gap then? So he is producing income at a much higher rate than other individuals to go from, not being the wealthiest individual to being very, very wealthy. And they say, yeah, he absolutely reinvests his profits. So what I do is I say, great, let's graph out his outflow. And they usually say it looks, compared to what he makes, it almost looks like that, right? The only way you're going to do that, the only way you're going to build a lot of wealth is if you have the wealth gap. So what I'll do is I'll make it a different color. I'll make it blue. Then I say, great, draw a line from here, and then draw a line from the outflow. And you guys can see that this whole area right in here is why he's very, very wealthy, because he has this, that he takes that money and then he reinvests it into another business that then brings another stream of income coming. And he just repeats that cycle. So I want you to take your drawing and I want you to overlay it on top of this drawing and say, okay, how does that look? What could I be doing that's different, that gets me more in alignment with what Warren Buffett is doing, and start adding assets to my life, like businesses, stocks, real estate, things like that. You guys, this whole cycle right here, this whole cycle is what wealthy people do. They take the extra income that they have, they save it, because they have a wealth gap. They live below their means. They save it and then they reinvest it back on the side with assets. And that's the next stage that we're going to show you guys is calculating your net worth and showing you which column you need to add things to grow your net worth. All right, this is the net worth tab. This is also known as a personal financial statement, you guys. If you don't track one of these or you don't do this exercise at least monthly, I would highly encourage you to do it. We actually did a video with Wendy Papazon. She said the number one habit that her and Jay got into when they were going on a wealth building journey was they started tracking this monthly and looking at it together as a family. And in 6 years, they basically went from a net worth of $2,000 to a net worth $1 million in 6 years just by paying attention to this. This is the form that they use, you guys. So I highly encourage you to do it. Okay, when you're in here, you're going to start filling out the assets that you own. So if you own a piece of real estate, this is where you're going to put $150,000. Okay, your net worth is simply what assets you have. What's the value of everything you own today minus what you owe on those assets equals your net worth. So if you have a $100,000 home, and you have a $50,000 mortgage, your net worth is $50,000. Because see what your net worth does is it's going to take your total assets and then subtract your total liabilities, and your net worth is that. Now, you guys, this is what that real estate is worth today. So if you own your home, you got to ask yourself, if I sold it today, what would it sell for today? And then you're going to say whatever that number is, and you plug that number in. Those of you guys who own rental properties, you need to insert a row, and then you need to add another column for rental real estate. Then if you have debt on it, you need to insert another column down here and add the debt for that rental. Let's say it's the same thing. Okay. Checking savings account, how much money do you have in your bank account today? That's how much goes there. How much you have in your savings account? That's how much goes there. Retirement accounts, how much is in your retirement accounts? That's what goes here. These are the assets that you guys have. You have a car, right? You have a rare baseball collection from your grandfather that's worth $5,000. That goes here. That's an asset. Anything of value, if you got a motorcycle, a camper, anything that if you sold it today, you'd make money on it, should go here. A big piece that I tell people too is put one whole label called personal property. You'd be amazed if you had to sell everything in your house today, what you could probably get for all of that. And you put a dollar value to that, your couch, your TV. Remember, you want, if I had to sell everything today, what would my net worth be? And this is how you do it. Once you have all those assets, then you got to go down and make sure you've grabbed all the liabilities. Anybody that you owe money to, okay? So another bank, if you owe money to a family member, a credit card, student loans, any of those pieces, you guys, this is where it goes. Any debt that you have, this is where it goes. And then you take those assets, you minus those liabilities, and that circles you to your net worth. And what you got to do is, you guys, in order to win the game, you have to know what the score is. This is just your scoreboard. This is no different than a weigh-in for those of you guys who are on a fitness journey. This is no different. This is just telling you where you are sitting today with your net worth. And that's how you fill this form out. So you guys have your inflow and outflow, and then you have your net worth tab. Those are the two things I highly encourage people to pay attention to monthly. If you do that, it'll put you on a great path to building wealth. And you'll ask yourselves on the inflow and outflow tabs, how do I increase more income into my life today? Okay, how do I get more inflow in? And that might be through buying a rental property, doing another sale, taking a side hustle, second job, and that increases your net worth. The second, or increases the inflow of income into your house. The second thing you guys can ask is, okay, what can I cut out of my outflow so that I look more like Warren Buffett's drawing? How can I make my expenses virtually zero? How can I cut my expenses so low so that I have some money left over to make investments? Once you have that money left over, that wealth gap each month, that's when you come in here and you say, what do I add to this column or this section? What asset do I buy that produces income and adds value? The goal here is you want to buy a piece of real estate for $100,000 or for $75,000 that's worth 100. You guys, that's how you build wealth. Like in this example, let's say that the second rental property that we bought was 75,000. That's how much of a loan you have to take out on it, but it's worth 100. That's a $25,000 net worth play by buying that asset. So I hope this helps you guys. Shoot us some questions in the comments. Send us an email about clarifying things a little bit more. But this in its simplest form, you track this monthly. What you focus on expands. Your net worth will expand. The inflow of money into your house will expand. You just got to have the discipline and the knowledge on how to do this, and then hold yourself accountable to making it happen. I know you guys can do it. It's a great thing to pay attention to. Okay, if you guys got value out of these exercises, like I said, please do them monthly, and then shoot me a comment. Keep us up to date on your journey of doing this. We have some really amazing stories of people in our community, our real estate community. One woman I think of, she went from $400,000 in medical debt to net worth millionaire in 3 to 4 years, you guys. So you pay attention to these things, you buy assets, amazing, awesome things can do it. Keep us up to date on your financial journey. Let us know how this is going for you. Let us know. We want to brag on you. We want to support you. We want to cheerlead for you. Let us know.